The year is 2050. In a surprising twist of the conclave, the Cardinals have elected 69-year-old Cardinal Justin Hibbard as the successor of St. Peter, only the second pope from the United States. According to sources, Cardinal Hibbard really wrestled with his papal name. Given his love for Pope John Paul II, he thought about taking on the name Pope John Paul III. But what he really wanted to do was call himself Pope John Paul II. But he ultimately settled on Justin, not paying homage to himself, but rather to his patron saint, Saint Justin Martyr, the 2nd century apologist. Habemus Papum. Hi, I'm Justin Hibbard, and you're listening to Why Catholic, my podcast about the what and why of Catholicism. Before you get too confused, no, there is no Pope Justin, or even Cardinal Hibbard, or even 22nd Ecumenical Council for that matter. This is a fictitious, hypothetical scenario. You see, since episode 146, we've been doing a series on the 21 Ecumenical Church Councils, beginning with the First Council of Nicaea in 325, and going all the way to the Second Vatican Council, which concluded in 1965. Today, I'm wrapping up this series, which has taken far more work than I anticipated, with something lighthearted. What would a council look like if I were Pope and convened it? Before I continue, though, let me just say a couple of words about this podcast. First, if you're new to Why Catholic, welcome. Just as a brief background, I grew up in a devout Baptist home. I was an evangelical pastor for 11 years. In total, I spent 39 years of my life as a Protestant in various denominations ranging from Pentecostal to Mennonite. And at the age of 41, I came home to the Catholic Church. When I converted, I got a ton of questions from my Protestant friends about this Catholic topic or that Catholic topic. And I thought, one thing I'm really good at is taking complex ideas and concepts and breaking them down so they're easy to understand and they're easy to digest. And after a lot of prayer and contemplation, I embarked on creating this podcast. The whole idea is that I would keep these episodes short, not trying to cram an exhaustive topic in a long episode, but rather to create these little stepping stones that build off each other. So when someone asks me about Mary, I can point them to an episode about Mary, but also point them to an episode about the communion of saints. I got the distinct impression that God wanted me to be faithful in producing this podcast. Don't make video episodes. Don't go nuts on social media trying to get the word out. Just be faithful in doing these short and intensive episodes. And that's what I've been doing. Now, a couple of months ago from the time of this recording, I posted a video on social media that got a lot of attention. And suddenly it seemed like overnight my social media account was blowing up. I decided to continue posting on social media almost daily, but the whole point is to let people know about this podcast. Use this podcast to help answer people's questions. It seems like every day I receive an email or direct message from someone telling me how important this podcast has been in their journey to or their return back to the Catholic Church. Or people will ask me if I can give them advice on how to talk to a loved one about the Catholic faith. It is so humbling to see what God has done with this little podcast. Seeing how much of an impact Why Catholic is making has made me realize that I needed to be all in. In faith, I quit a side job that I had in order to focus on my work with my parish and with Why Catholic. And so more than ever, I would love for you to partner with me in reaching as many people as possible for as long as we can. To become a patron, go to whycatholic.substack.com/subscribe. And if nothing else, help others find this podcast by leaving it a 5-star rating on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And if you have a second, leave a review as well. Thank you so much for your support and being a part of the Why Catholic podcast. All right, let's get back to our highly unrealistic episode. So I've just been elected Pope. Of the one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church, a church that is nearly 2 billion people at this time, 20% of the world's population. It's been growing leaps and bounds leading up to the year 2050, but there are some major challenges ahead of us. I've decided right away from the very beginning that I'm going to call an ecumenical council. It's been almost 100 years since Vatican II, and the church really needs to gather and concentrate its efforts. But I'm going to keep any announcement of a future council really close to my chest. Instead, for the first year, I'm going to make very few changes. My whole purpose will be to get to know the church. I'll travel the world and visit as many places as possible, being away from Vatican City probably 2 to 3 weeks per month. Each place that I go will have a 5-day cycle. Day 1 will be meeting with the clergy, have a mass in the morning and discussions at the cathedral in the afternoon. Day 2 will be focused on the lay people. I'll start with visiting the marginalized like homeless shelters, prisons, etc. I'll end with a mass at a local parish and a reception where I intermingle with the people. Day 3 will be meeting various local orders like Dominicans, Carmelites, etc. Day 4 will entail meeting with the local political leaders, and I'll also bring along the bishop of that diocese and other key clergy members from that diocese to that meeting. My aim is to build trust and build bridges between the church and the state. But also by that time, our momentum can't be ignored. And we've heard about the needs of the community and can express those to the political leaders. Day 5 will be the finale. There will be a giant mass at a local venue, probably a stadium or fairgrounds. In the morning, there will be confession, where I and my entourage will join the local priests in hearing confession. Then there will be a giant mass. Now, before my visit, I will have sent ahead a team who will meet with the local bishop and clergy to explain what I expect in our grand finale day of confession and mass. It's going to include some reforms that I want to implement in a future ecumenical council that they don't know about yet. But my aim here is to start planting the seeds by modeling this reverent liturgy. My whole hope in these 5-day visits is to first and foremost bring about revival. Secondly, it's to build trust and goodwill with the people. And third, it's to lay down the groundwork for everything I want to accomplish in the next ecumenical council. My goal is to be as accessible to the public as humanly possible. I give lots of public addresses. I'll even continue the Why Catholic podcast, which will be coming up on its 1250th episode by that time. This first year of my papacy will be grueling, but it will be worth it. Meanwhile, I've surrounded myself with an inner circle of people I plan to be my close confidants. Some of them are cardinals, other members of the clergy, and even lay people. Now, back at the Vatican, I've quietly employed a large data gathering team to give me and my inner circle a detailed understanding of every single facet of the church. I want to know where the church is growing and where she is struggling, where she is a beacon on a hill and where she is being persecuted. I want to understand the bishops that are doing good things and where we have bishops in wrong places. They're going to survey each member of the clergy and religious order with a series of questions so that we can get a detailed understanding of what's going right and what needs reform. After a year of traveling and being visible to the church around the globe, I will have gained the people's trust, and I will have met key leaders, and that is the time I'll start making some changes. The first thing is to make my inner circle, whether they be cardinals or even laity, the leaders of the various dicasteries, aka the curia. We'll also change the name from dicastery to something people understand, like ministry. By that time, my inner circle of leaders will have examined the data. We're starting to see some patterns and trends. We see some bishops that need to be asked politely to step down, and we also see some bishops that are underutilized in their potential. Good priests will be elevated to bishops. The last thing I want is for my council to be derailed by toxic bishops with liberal theological views. Remember, St. Justin, my namesake, was an apologist. Faithful Catholic teaching is a big deal to me. Once I've got everyone in place, I will announce an ecumenical council to take place within 2 years. Unlike Vatican II, I'm not going to send out a survey asking for proposals. I already know what I want to accomplish. The purpose of this ecumenical council is to focus on making these changes happen. Implementation has always been the Achilles heel of these councils. Now, as the leader of the Catholic Church, I can do these things on my own, but I don't want to act unilaterally. I want these changes to be long-lasting, changes from all of us, not just from me. You might be thinking, gee, Justin, you sound awfully shrewd. And I think that's because one thing this series has taught me is that ecumenical councils can be highly risky. The Catholic Church is not free from politics. A highly influential bishop can have a large following, and so we want to make sure those highly influential bishops are steering the church in the right direction. There are really 2 broad categories that I want to address, and I anticipate that each of these categories will take maybe 6 months to a year. First is the mission of the church to the world, and secondly is the sacramental mission of the church. If you think, wow, that seems simple, I've got a big 10-point agenda. First, with respect to the mission of the church to the world, there's a number of issues I want to tackle and reforms I want to propose. First, we really need to give the faithful a stronger sense of their Catholic identity. And so to do this, we're going to offer dual citizenship to those who wish to pledge their fidelity as faithful Catholics. There will be an application process. It'll be open to all Catholics who have received their sacraments of initiation and who have gone through some catechesis. They will need a recommendation from a deacon and priest, and upon acceptance, they will become a citizen of Vatican City. Secondly, we have been too passive with respect to global politics. Countries have allowed secularism to run rampant, and so we are going to publish a report every 6 months grading countries on a score of 0 to 100 with respect to their alignment with Catholic social justice teaching. We'll ask parishes to publish this number nice and big so everyone can see where their country stands. Think about it like the way the health department grades restaurants and forces them to publish their grades in prominent places. The goal isn't to shame them. It's to encourage countries to strive for a better score and to encourage the faithful to be catalysts towards that end in their country. Thirdly, we will bring back the Knights Templar. Like the Swiss Guard, this will be a military order, only this is going to be a group of elite military special forces. Think Navy SEALs. They will be faithful Catholic celibate men between the ages of 18 and 33. Their whole purpose is to protect the Catholic faithful around the world. So, for example, in places where Catholics are being persecuted, this elite group of special forces will be deployed to neutralize any threats and assist the persecuted in seeking safety and asylum. They will abide by Catholic just war doctrine. This isn't for the expansion of temporal power or territory, but to respond where Catholics are being threatened. Fourth, there will be a greater emphasis on missions for young adults ages 18 through 25. We'll take a lesson from the Mormons and really emphasize, even normalize, serving in some sort of mission for 1 to 2 years or more. Lastly, we're going to make tangible strides toward unity with other Christian denominations. First and foremost will be the Eastern Orthodox. Lots of groundwork has been laid in the previous 50 years, and now's the time to really push for full communion together. With respect to Protestant denominations, the Ordinariate of the Chair of St. Peter has continued to grow as Anglican and Episcopalian priests and even churches have come into communion with the Catholic Church. But we're going to extend this to be a global diocese, not just limited to the United States and Canada. We will also establish 2 more ordinariates, one for classical Protestant groups like Lutheran and Presbyterian, and one for low churches like Baptist, Evangelical, and non-denominational churches. These congregations will be able to come into full communion with the Catholic Church. Now, obviously, they will need to adopt Catholic doctrine and come under the structure of the Catholic Church and reform their liturgy. But this also means that Protestant pastors who meet some standards of formation can become Catholic priests and remain either married or celibate. This will also encourage those Protestant pastors who are seriously considering becoming Catholic but fear the loss of their livelihood in ministry. And hopefully by doing this, we will see an influx of uniquely trained individuals into our strained number of clergy. Now, let's turn our attention to the other focus of this council, the sacramental mission of the Catholic Church. One of the unfortunate things in the post-Vatican II Church is that a number of leaders did all sorts of wonky things in the quote-unquote spirit of Vatican II. The result was the erosion of Orthodox Catholicism in favor of a cafeteria-style Catholicism, where people pick and choose whatever they want to believe. Parishioners have had inconsistent and sometimes inept catechesis, and many haven't taken their catechesis seriously. There's been an epidemic of children who think of getting their sacraments like getting stickers. They go through First Communion, and then they disappear until confirmation, and then they disappear altogether. We are going to take a lesson from Rick Warren's best-selling book, The Purpose-Driven Church, and create a 4-part catechesis program, a combination of church teaching, biblical study, and memorization, and prayer. The content will be the same at each level, but there will be adaptations for different age groups, and each level will be more advanced and require more commitment. Those wishing to teach programs must complete all 4 years. In addition, those applying for dual citizenship will have to complete all 4 years as well. Those wishing to be catechists in the Catholic Church must complete all 4 levels. In addition, those applying for dual citizenship will have to complete all 4 levels as well. Secondly, the Catholic Church really needs to encourage and promote faithful Catholic teaching. For this reason, we are going to have an optional accreditation process for every Catholic institution and content creator. Those that meet the standard requirements that adhere to faithful Catholic teaching will receive a prestigious seal identifying them as an authentic Catholic source of instruction. This accreditation process will be available to Catholic schools and universities, as well as content providers like radio stations, podcasts, YouTube channels, etc. Third, as a way of promoting official content, the Catholic Church will have an official app available on all platforms. It will be a curated group of resources available in just about every language. Those who have passed accreditation can submit content for this app. By doing this, we will help curate faithful Catholic teaching and also drive traffic to faithful Catholic resources. Institutions like Catholic high schools or Catholic universities will have the ability to promote their schools on this app. A fourth facet is a new order made up of religious and lay people for the promotion of the transcendentals of truth, goodness, and beauty. This will begin with reforms to the Novus Ordo and the Latin Mass to bring them closer into alignment. The Novus Ordo will be adjusted with more stringent rubrics, incorporating more of the traditional Mass. The traditional Latin Mass will follow the same readings and calendars as the Novus Ordo. But this order for the promotion of truth, goodness, and beauty isn't just a reform of the Mass. It's to assist parishes in a whole transformational process, from their liturgy to their culture to improvements in their building. Lastly, we need to make reforms to our finances. And here, once again, we're going to take a lesson from the Mormons. Can you tell them from Utah? One of the things we will create is a Vatican fund. Instead of savings accounts at each diocese, they will invest their savings through a centralized fund managed by the Vatican. The purpose of this is to increase the amount of investment growth by pulling money across the world. A cut of the interest will help pay for these new reforms and endeavors. Dioceses will see increased interest and be able to pull out their money anytime. Dioceses will also be assessed $1 per registered person in the diocese, and in turn, everything outlined in this new plan will be provided for free. Classes, curriculum, the new Catholic app, and services such as help from the new Transcendental Order for the promotion of truth, goodness, and beauty. In fact, any institution with the Catholic seal of approval can invest in this fund. Dioceses can apply to borrow money from it at an exceptionally low interest rate for capital projects, and students can receive scholarships through this fund to attend an officially accredited Catholic institution. Lastly, this fund will go to help offset the costs for missionaries and provide for global aid like Catholic relief services. So that's the grand 10-point plan. Number 1, an opportunity for dual citizenship. Number 2, a moral grading system for countries. Number 3, the resurrection of the Knights Templar as an elite special forces to neutralize threats to the Catholic Church and the Catholic faithful. Number 4, 1 to 2 year mission programs for young adults. Number 5, unity with other Christian sects. Number 6, a 4-part catechesis program. Number 7, an accreditation process open to all Catholic institutions and creative outlets. Those that pass receive an official seal, identify them as an authentic Catholic outlet. Number 8, an official Catholic app of curated content from content providers that have that seal of accreditation. Number 9, a new order that helps reform parishes in the way of truth, goodness, and beauty. Number 10, the creation of the Vatican Fund, where dioceses pool their savings together and generate higher interest. I can't stress enough that the focus of this council is really on creating a plan that will successfully implement these reforms. Once the council is over, we will employ a team of project managers to make sure these changes get implemented. When you're dealing with a church as large and as wide as the Catholic Church, it's not enough for the council fathers to come up with good ideas that they agree on. There has to be a comprehensive plan to implement these ideas. So there you have it. That's the hypothetical 22nd Ecumenical Council, convened by the hypothetical Pope Justin. If the Holy Father happens to be listening, I think these are some pretty good ideas if I do say so myself. I'd be delighted to go work for the Curia in Vatican City. You guys, this officially concludes our series on the 21 Ecumenical Church Councils. I can't thank you enough for journeying with me on what has been an entire year of work. The next series will get into the nitty-gritty of our liturgy. We're going to examine the Mass, not just what we do, but the why behind it. I hope you'll join me next time on Why Catholic. Thank you for joining me for Why Catholic. Be sure to subscribe to Why Catholic wherever you get your podcasts. And you can also subscribe to my Substack site and get the next episode in your email inbox. As a subscriber, you get a special discount code to the Why Catholic Etsy store. If you've been blessed by this podcast and you're feeling generous, there's also a way to financially support it, and patrons get some extra perks. To become a free subscriber or a patron, just go to whycatholic.substack.com/subscribe. Also join me on Instagram at whycatholicpodcast, all one word. Thanks again for listening. My name is Justin Hibbard, and this is Why Catholic. God bless you.